What's going on, everybody? This is D from the Speak Your Bully Sports Podcast, coming with you with some more boxing talk. Today, we're going to touch on Jaron Ennis. We're going to touch on a breaking news with the IBF ordering a potential fight between Moses Atuma and Frank Sanchez for that IBF title. And overall, I'm mainly going to focus on Jaron Ennis, the aftermath from his dominant performance versus Xander Zayas, becoming two-time unified champion first at 147, now at 154. I'm gonna jump right into it. I want to just touch on the potential fight between Moses Atuma and Frank Sanchez for that IBF title. I find that to be interesting. I know if this goes through, Moses is supposed to be fighting Herkovich. And I think, was that in August or later on in July? But they also are saying that potentially, depending on how this goes down with the IBF, I'm going to say this guy's name, Bakadir Jalolov. They said it's still most likely. This is on the Bat Left Hook. I'm reading this little article here. I'm seeing this article. And then I saw the story breakout. I think I saw a post on YouTube talking about Frank Sanchez and potentially Moses Atuma. So we'll just see what happens with that. That's kind of interesting. I know Usyk dropped all his belts at heavyweight, so what we're looking at, we'll just say 5 belts, including the ring, WBC, WBA, WBO, IBF, and then the ring belt. We'll see what happens, how those get dispersed. I'm not mad about it, especially if you get potentially 4 to 5 fights, 4 belts, and now we have 4 or 5 champions. So you got heavyweight Moses Atuma, you got Frank Sanchez, you got Herkovich, you got, I doubt, which I don't think so, but I kind of doubt if Joshua and Fury fight for a belt, since that fight is so big. Like, do they really want a belt? Or they don't really need a belt, but if they may still be in the mix, they still want to go after championships. That fight could potentially be for a belt. I know Wilder is still out there. Zhang, Jarrell Miller. Let me see here. I'm kind of just going off the top here. Let me see, ring heavyweights. We'll go to ring. I just want to see all the heavyweights just out there. So, forgive me. Mr. Daniel Du Bois. I don't know how I forgot about him. Caballero is there. Fabio Wardley. I know we're taking an L to Du Bois. May have to get some more fights in, but F.A. Jabba, Gassiev, Huni. So there's some potential with Usyk dropping the belts. We'll see what happened with what they do with Tyson Fury and Joshua. That'll be for a belt. Excuse me, might not be, but you got a lot of guys. I feel like Herkovich has been in a lot of title eliminators, or fighting guys that are right there below championship status. And this fight will get you to the belt, but it's going to be interesting with that. Okay, heavyweight divisions looking interesting. I'm going to shift gears though. As everybody knows by now, Ennis beats Xander Zayas in a action-packed 7-round fight, and then a TKO. I believe Zayas' team threw in the towel in that fight. But I'm not really going to go through the details of the fight. I will here and there, but I kind of want to just touch on that round 3. And not really what happened within the round 3. We know first 2 rounds, knocked down in the first round, Zayas is down, Boots put him down. Second round, Boots is still applying pressure. Third round, same. Then Xander clips Ennis. And I know prior to this fight, and leading up in this fight, all this talk has been about since the Karen fights. I know others have said before that Boots get hits flush, and he's tightened up on his defense. That's his biggest, the biggest flaw, maybe second to him just being more patient. Which I don't disagree with that assessment. It's cleaning up. We always want to be getting better, cleaning up your defense, things like that. But I feel like in this fight, Xander's getting more credit for his heart and taking on Boots than what Boots did, because based off everything I saw, it seemed like this fight, based off people giving predictions, it was like 50-50 to a degree, maybe more like 60-40. But you still have people saying, well, Xander can, and everybody's basing off what happened with the Karen fight. Get Boots, get him turned around, can box him. And that's one thing I was saying, that was the only way Xander could potentially win this fight, because I said him trying to fight an inside fight, I was like, there's no way he's just going to be able to win that fight, which, I think was proven to be true for the most part. Xander did try to box in that first round, tried to move around. He was just a slower fighter, slower hands, which was obvious. Boots jab was landing at will in that first round. That would probably honestly be my only flaw with Boots in this fight, was the lack of jabs. I feel like he probably could have finished the fight earlier, and I could be wrong about this, but if he had fought from mid-range to long range, because the straight left wasn't missing, or depending on what stance he was in, he was landing the 1-2 out of both stances. That straight backhand was landing, where it was left hand, right hand, depending on what stance he was in. Jab wasn't missing. But that was like my one flaw. When that third round did happen, at one point I started cheering for Xander. I thought he was about to knock him down at the very least, get a knockdown. That miss was crazy. I ain't gonna lie, that miss was wild. But I just want to touch on, we'll get away from that, but it's touch on this. You say it's fair criticism when you watch it. You want to have a great career, all these high expectations. I get it. But then at the same time, I'm looking at the fight and looking at some of the criticism. I feel like Boots won all 7. I'll go back and look at round 3 fairly, and to see, like, dang, did Boots lose all those rounds? Lose round 3. But if that's the case, he lost. Out of 7 rounds, he lost 1. And it kind of reminds me of when David Haney fought Jorge Linares. I think that fight did go to the cards. I think Devin was watching him. Let's say he won every round. I have to go back and look. But the only thing that people talked about from that fight, was, I think, in round 9, Lawrence threw like a 4 or 5 punch combination. And one of the punches, maybe it was a right hand. Of course, it clipped Devin. And Devin, it was right at the end of the round, got wobbled. Knees wobbled, and he walked off. And then I think that was round 9. And then around like 10, he was like started to hold on. He was there for the rest of the fight. And that's what everybody talked about after that fight. Oh man, Devin, it's chinny. Devin don't got a chin. He can't take a punch. See, da-da-da-da-da-da. Those things may be true. I'm not saying it's not true, or that it's not true, but how are we going to ignore the domination from all these other rounds and only point out this one moment of the fight, when against the fighter that maybe you don't really care for, or there's high expectations, or whatever the case may be. To me, the criticism, while it still can be true, but I feel like some people, the lens that some people come from, how would I put that? It can be, like you say, to a degree, can be convoluted, or even the criticism is a little bit overhyped. Because same thing I can say about Terrence Crawford. We're talking about him getting hit flush. Granted, I don't think Terrence Crawford ever was put down in his career, unless he got put down earlier from a knockdown, not a knockout. I'm saying a knockdown. Yes, he got wobbled versus Gamboa, versus Kavalauskas, versus Madrimov. And there's probably other fights too where he got hit, but I'm talking about where it was obvious, like where you got hit. In the Madrimov fight, he kept getting hit with the straight, what was the bull name? Madrimov's right hand, consecutively. David Benavidez, to me, which is not like too often. I've recently watching David. I understand he's been knocked down before, not early in his career, but earlier fights in his career. He got clipped by David Morrell. Like, it happens. But I'm saying this criticism with Boots, and yes, I understand there's probably a plethora of times where he's with Karen fights, with the what do you call it? What was Bull name? Karen fight with the Zayas fight, all those different things where I can speak to that where he got clipped, where it's getting hit flush. This fight was first time he was getting hit, you say it was clean where he was obviously hurt, whether he knew it or not, whatever the case is. I don't know what that's like. I've never been hit like that in a ring before, but I just feel like some of the criticism is just like we're giving praise to the loser versus giving praise to the winner. So it's like as if Boots has to be perfect. Certain fighters have to be perfect while other fighters can get away with certain things, or things can get glossed over, and we'll word it a certain way. So that's the part where it's just like, okay. People saying, I've seen different comments where they're saying, a knockout is coming for Boots. Because the way he fights, leaving his chin exposed, different things like that. I'm not saying there aren't things that he needs to work on. I'm not saying that at all. I'm not trying to be a super fan and just ignore areas of blemishes where he can improve on. But I'm like, too. And with this fight in particular, taking one fight at a time, like he's not about to fight Pandora. He's not fighting Virgil Ortiz. That's another fighter, knockdown twice versus Boachuk. And talk about being impatient. Once he gets touched, he just go for broke, which is cool from like a fan perspective in the action. But if you're fighting somebody that can counterpunch and like set a trap for you, it's GG's potential for that, because we're trying to get his lick back as well. So for me, I'm gonna give Boots the credit as I give all other fighters credit when I'm watching the fight and a fighter does something well, they win, whether it's UD, whether it's TKO, KO, whatever case, split decision, and they putting in work in that ring, they fighting well. I give Boots all the credit. Yes, should he have got clipped? Who knows? No, he shouldn't have got clipped. He should never got clipped. But there's something he has to work on. It's his career. He got to watch out for that. He got to be more defensively responsible. But he dominated that fight. Outside of that round 3, like I got to go back and watch round 3 to even see if he's giving Zayas that, giving him that, because he still got hurt in that round. Zayas did as well. And also in that exchange too, I think Boots got hit in the shin with Zayas' shoulder, which made it look like a punch. One of the shots. So, give Zayas credit, taking the fight. It was a great fight, great performance by Boots, dominant one-sided performance by Boots, and on to the next. And Boots is definitely, I already had him on my pound-for-pound list, I think at 8. I'm gonna redo my pound-for-pound list soon. Yeah, Boots is definitely, I gotta see where I want to put him at. I gotta go back and look at it, because I got Foster on my list now. Boots, he went up my list. For me personally, I probably still got David Benavidez 1. And David Benavidez has the best, best performance so far of this this year in boxing. Best performance for me right now. I understand people so we'll see.